Hola, clase. ¿Cómo están? Excelente. And welcome back to Learning with Senor Cow Cow. So today's going to go a little bit different than usual. We're not going to do a warm up. We're going to be focusing on your project, how to do it, how it's graded, etc. Okay? So welcome to the Project Guide 2020. Okay. So first of all, let me start at the beginning. Okay. So what I want to do is I want to let's do a screen share here. So basically, this project has an oral component and an essay component. We're going to do the essay component first. And just to show you the deadlines, so this is today, Tuesday the 27th. So we're going to work on it, work on it, work on it. On the 30th, the rough draft is due. And that is going to be a quiz grade. You will get a 100 quiz grade if you turn it in completed. It doesn't have to be perfect. I don't expect it to be perfect. If it is perfect, it was probably cheating. No, but uh, well, all that I'm saying is what I want to see is a complete rough draft turned into me on Friday. If it's complete, everything's there that I'm looking for, I will give you a 100 quiz grade. Okay? The next week, we will be working on the final version of your essay. When you turn your final essay in, that will be for another grade. Okay? And then the following Monday, we are going to start our oral presentations. So, let's start at the beginning here. Okay, now these are the instructions for the oral assignment. As I said, we're going to be doing the written assignment first, but this really sums it up better anyway. So here it is. So it says Day of the Dead oral presentation, how to get ready, and how to get the best grade. Number one, choose someone that has died that made a positive impact in your life. It can be a relative, a friend at your church, but someone connected with you. Now, in class, we had a lot of issues with this one. And somebody was saying, what happens if I have someone who I don't have a connection with that's died? Maybe someone died, but you don't have a connection with them, like it could be like a grandparent that you never met or something like that, um, and so on. And we went round and round about this. And I think the most important thing is that it's someone that you have a connection with because it's a tough one because like it's important to learn about someone, but if you don't have a connection with that person, then the project is not going to be as special. So the question was, can it be someone who is still alive? And ultimately, we said that it is okay if the person is still alive. Just keep in mind that part of this project is going to be mentioning how the person died. Okay, so at that point, you will have to make up how this person will die. Okay, and I don't mean for that to sound like a funny thing or like a morbid thing. It's just death is a part of life, and part of this assignment is to talk about the life that this person had. Now, again, it's going to be kind of a touchy, sticky thing if the person is still alive, but it's just completing the assignment. So I wouldn't know the difference anyway, whether your relative is still living or not. Okay, because the whole thing about Day of the Dead to the Mexican people is a connection with those that you loved and cared about. And I would be remiss if I gave you a project and you were talking about someone that you have a connection to and that you cared about that you really didn't. Okay, so that's where we're going to leave it. If it is someone who's still alive, I still want you using your past tenses, your preterite and imperfect. And when it comes to the part where that person died, just make it up. You can say something regular, like they died of natural causes, something like that. Just know that death is part of the assignment because it is the Day of the Dead. It's a very important thing, and one of the whole points of this holiday is not to fear death. that it is a natural part of life, and even the ancient Aztecs believed that it was the next part of the same life. Okay, so just keep that in mind. So, again, the most important part is the part that says someone who is connected to you. Okay, a friend, a relative, someone at church, whoever it is, someone that you have a personal connection with. Number two, talk about their life, their death, their positive impact on your life. Number three, and again, a lot of these things are for the oral part, but I'm just going to go over it all now. Have a visual aid for the presentation. It can be a photo or something that reminds you of him or her. Maybe it's a stuffed animal that they gave you when you were sick or when you were little. Or if it's something valuable like a gold watch, you can bring a picture of that for your presentation. Okay? So have a visual aid and make sure to mention it and use it like it says here. During the presentation, refer to the visual aid and talk about its relevance. Number five, this is a huge one. This is the whole point of this assignment. Use appropriately the tenses of the preterite and the imperfect to present the information in the past. Okay? So for those sudden actions, preterite, he went to Disney World in 1974, he was born, he died. And then for more background or describing things, like he was an engineer, he was kind, he used to go to the beach every summer, things like that. Okay, number six, speak in Spanish. You cannot use written notes. You can use drawings to remind yourself, but not written words. Don't have words in English or something that you don't know because you had not prepared before the presentation. So don't like if you're presenting and you never looked up the word uh, garbage truck and you say mi abuelo trabajaba en un garbage truck. That would be points off because all you had to do was look that up, study, practice, memorize. Okay. And when it talks about drawings, what I'm talking about is little things like this. Like you'd have a sheet of paper or a card, and you could say, like if he was a football player, él jugaba al fútbol americano. Maybe I want to talk about where he went to church, or different things like any little picture to keep you on track is good. Okay. Next. So again, the whole point here is to speak in Spanish, and it's like Mrs. Johnson was telling me. This is the project where she sees many of her students for the first time realize that they can actually speak in Spanish. You're talking about real things, you're not reading. And it's like, I can actually do this, and I know that you can. Okay, next. And again, we're talking about the oral part here. Use the best pronunciation and intonation that you can. You have to practice out loud before the presentation. Okay, so like anything else, prepare, study. A battle is won or lost in its preparation. Okay, so speak nice and clearly, speak nice and loud so we can hear you, and so on. All right, number eight, ask questions to your classmates about their presentations. As the person is talking, as they're presenting their oral presentation, you should be writing down interesting things. He played football in college, and then you can raise your hand and say, where did he play football? What college? Okay, that sort of thing. So be ready to ask your classmates questions based on what they said. Or if you said, my grandmother used to eat a lot, and say, what did she eat? Where did she eat? And that kind of engagement is really gonna up our game here. As the presenter, answer questions from the class and from me about your presentation in Spanish. Also, be ready to tell us interesting things that you heard about all of the outstanding people during the presentations of your friends. So, get ready for any questions from me. And also, think about anything else that we could discuss. Be like, oh man, yeah, Johnny's grandfather was from New Zealand. I thought that was cool. That sort of thing. And number 10, be ready on the first day of presentations. Okay, I cannot tell you how much number 10 is going to get you ready for college. If it says presentations will start on Monday, and then Monday comes and you are praying that he doesn't call on you because you're not ready, and he says, Sarah, and you say, I'm not ready, he's going to shake his head, take off points, move to the next person. College college professors can be very strict like that, very tough, because this is big boys and girls out at college. Okay, so be ready on the first day, whether you go or not. Be ready. Okay, so write at least one page of information that describes the life, the death, and the positive influence that this person has had in your life. The following questions can help you with the organization of the work. So these are actually really valuable for getting yourself a page of information together. For example, where and in what year was he or she born? Describe their physical appearance. What were they like as a child? Was your granddad nice? Was he athletic? Where did he study? Where did he live during his life? Etc. Okay, a lot of good questions there. Now, the other part is going to be this. This is for your written portion. Okay, so that other one was still going over what you needed. That's what we're talking about. All of those things. So, um, basic outline for the essay of Day of the Dead. Here you have some suggestions for organizing your essay and some vocabulary that you may need. Now, what that's saying, this is not a set thing that you have to follow. You don't have to go A, B, C, D. If I were you, I probably would, just because this is very well organized. So let's see what it says. Paragraph 1, La Niñez, childhood, description of the family. Nacer is to be born. Donde vivía, where they live. Mudarse is to move from one place to another. Let me check something. Okay, good. Paragraph 2, Juventud, youth. Asistir a, to attend. Colegio is high school. Universidad, college. Los pasatiempos are hobbies, like sports and games and things. Doing puzzles, tic-tac-toe, all those sorts of stuff. What they liked or what interests them. Paragraph 3, the adult. Getting married, getting divorced, description of the family, what they did in the community, the church, organizations, profession. Okay, tell me what their job was. Were they active in the community? Did they volunteer? Were they do something at church? And paragraph 4, enfermarse is to get sick. And y'all know how these verbs work. Morir is to die. Recuerdo is a memory. Morirse de, to die from. Impacto positivo, positive impact. La influencia positiva, positive influence. So here you have a whole bunch of things that are going to save you the trouble of looking them up. Jubilarse, to retire. Alistarse, to enlist in the Army, Navy, Marines, Soldier, Air Force, Twin, World War II, Great Uncle. And we have some causes of death: lung cancer, breast cancer, um, heart attack, stroke, illness, things like that. And a bunch of other good things. So that takes care of what I'm looking for. Okay, now again, this needs to be at the shortest a page, and at the longest a page and a half. I don't want 3, 4, 5 pages. I'll just go ahead and tell you that's going to be too much. Okay, so sometimes you do have to rein it in. Now, as far as how this is graded, what I'm going to do first is I'm going to go through your rough draft and circle any errors. I'm not going to make corrections. I'm just going to circle it and show you something is wrong here. Something's missing. Something needs to be fixed. You can have a partner to peer correct, like especially someone who you know is particularly good at Spanish. They can say, this should be imperfect. That's why he circled it. We're not going to do any editing until next week. Until Friday, we're just going to be working on the rough draft. My at-school students are going to turn in every day what they did. And my learn-from-home students, we can probably turn that in as well. We'll just do it like when we take a test. So by Friday, be finished with the rough draft. If it is completed, you have a full page, even though it's not perfect, that will be a 100 quiz grade. You started it at their birth, you went through their life, and you ended at their death and mentioned what their positive impact was. Okay. Now, it's not going to be as hard as you think to get a full page, especially if you do your research and you know uh, that it's things like they played football, he was a baker, he drove an ice cream truck. Bam, bam, bam. Those are good, interesting things. What I don't want is a bunch of fluff. Say he had a cousin, Ricardo. He had an aunt, Maria. He had a niece, Sabrina. No, I don't want to see that. Give me some actual meat on the bones, not just the fat. Next week, we will continue working and we'll be working on the final draft, and that is due to me by Friday, the corrected, clean final copy by Friday. Okay, we're going to turn in everything every day. So, the way these are going to be graded, spelling errors will be minus a half a point, and most small errors, like little things that are missing, like for example, or day. Missing accent marks will be minus one, because those are too important to just ignore. If you put preterite and it should be imperfect, that's minus three. If you use preterite versus imperfect expressions wrong, like if it should have said last night, but you said every night, that would be minus one. Article missing, like if it should say the house and you just wrote house, that's minus one. And so, like I said, a page to 1.5 pages. All right. One side note: if you want to include the name of a business, like Burger King, for example, you can just say Burger King. You don't have to say King of the Burgers. It would sound weird, it would be strange, and it would confuse people. My dad worked at King of the Burgers. Okay, so things like Burger King, First Baptist Church, just leave it as it is because that is what it's called. Okay, even in other countries, even in Japan, they have Kentucky Fried Chicken in Japan, and it is called Kentucky Fried Chicken. Okay, trust me, I've been there. Um, okay, now, so let's make sure I'm not skipping anything. We went over the deadlines. We went over the instructions. I want to re-emphasize the whole point of this project is preterite versus imperfect. So every time you use a verb, ask yourself, was this a sudden action? He moved to Florida. He was born in Virginia. He graduated. He ate at an expensive restaurant. Or is it something more ongoing, like he was an engineer, he used to teach at Evans, he was kind? Okay, was it something like that? That would be imperfect. Okay, now, two things that I'm going to teach you before I leave you. And so, anyway, if you're learning from home, we are going to be using our 30-minute time block for you to work on your paper. Okay, the same as we're doing in class, that time is to work on your paper. So, let me do a couple things real quick. Number one, I'm going to show you the correct way to look up a verb. Okay, now, let's say I'm going to use word reference in Spanish Dict. But here's what first of all, here's what you should never do. Google Translate. Don't say he shot a deer. Okay? This is what I don't want to see. Le disparó a un ciervo. It's all done for you. It's like I hate it. Google Translate, I want to shut down. I wish that I could just remove it from existence. Okay? He shot a deer. What I want you to do, and this is what we had to do when I was in high school, even in college. So here's what to show you. If you want to say he shot a deer, right? Don't look up the word. Well, first of all, if you write he shot, it's going to give you all kinds of things. It's going to give you he, uh, to have done something. It's all messed up. So first of all, what you what you probably will try to look up is the word shot. And shot, here's what happens. If you type in shot, it gives you noun, firing of a gun. This is a gunshot. These are nouns. Um, this is like he took a shot with his gun. This is a shot like a shot glass. This is a movie shot like in a movie. Okay, and when you go down, uh, ruined, this car is shot, okay, etc. Shot, 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 all kinds of nouns and adjectives and stuff you don't want. What you want to look up is shoot. And the first thing that comes up, it says shoot, verb, okay? Fire a gun. There you go. Disparar. So if he shot something once, you say él disparó. If he used to shoot things, it would be disparaba. Don't look up shot, look up shoot. Don't look up ate, look up eat. Okay? That's the first thing I wanted to show you. Okay? But I'm telling you guys, if you go to Google Translate, it's gonna cost you. I'm gonna make you start over. I do not want to see it. It is nothing short of cheating. Please understand how serious I am. I never use my serious voice with y'all, but I'm telling you, Google Translate is cheating. Okay. Now, the other thing is I'm going to show you how to tell the year in Spanish, okay? Now, if you want to say, let's say let's use an old year, 1932. You say 1932. 1932. And that seems like a big old mouthful, right? Because we just say 1932. But once you've done this a million times like I have, it just pops right out. 1932, 1950, 1992, all those sorts of things. It's not that bad. Because whoever this person is that you're writing about probably, hopefully, was born a long time ago. Let's say 1953. Okay? 1954. All right, I want you to think about it. How would you say this? I'm going to give you a second. The answer is 1954. 1954. Okay, that's it. That's all there is to it. Okay, now, to show you after 2000, 2000 for example is very simple. 2000. 2000. That's it. If you want to say 2001, 2001. So you tell me 2020 would be what? 2020. So if you wanted to say something like start your um, paper like this. Okay, you would say this. Mi abuela, Cecilia, nació el 4 de agosto de 1942. All right, so there you go. That's how your paper should start, something like that. Now, speaking of which, before we go, I do have an example to show you. Okay, now I've taken the names out of this one. This is from a student example. And here is what your paper should look like. Okay, so this person got a 93, which is very good. It's an A. Mi tía, name removed, nació el 4 de abril 1971. Ella vivía en Martinez, Georgia, con su madre, Sally, su padre, John, su hermano John y su abuela. Mi tía asistía a la escuela primaria Westmont, la escuela mediana Columbia y el colegio Evans. Ella asistía a la Universidad de Augusta. Ella jugaba al softball y salía con su familia y sus amigos. Then we talk about her getting married, getting divorced, etc., getting married again. So here there was something missing here. There was an error. This was an error. This where was something missing. Okay, so that's what kind of things to expect written on your paper. So as you can see here is, see they have one page and then a little bit more. So that's what we're going for, okay? And you can see it's not perfect and they did well. So that should sum it all up. That takes care of the instructions, the grading, the deadlines, everything that I'm looking for. So my advice, first of all, is collect as much information as possible, and in some ways it will write itself. If you know one thing after the other to say, that's what I want you to have. A one-page paper is not the biggest thing you'll have to write. You've probably written more already. So there you go. I want you to show me your best. I want you to show me your A game. I want to see it completely in Spanish. We're going to tackle that written assignment and we're going to worry about the oral later. Okay? If you have a question, please let me know and I will talk to you soon. Adios.